Hello, this is the Signature Show. I am Vin Martin Obiora Ilo. You may have noticed that in the last couple of weeks, we've been bringing you Nigerian icons. Those in their special way, in what they do, that signposted the Nigerian name. Today I have another great Nigerian, and it's my pleasure, very distinguished pleasure, singular pleasure, to welcome to our show Chairman Christian Chukwu. Chairman, you're welcome to our program.
Thank you very much. It's a long time.
A long time. Good to see you.
Yeah.
Good to see you.
Good.
You're looking good too.
Well, let's change.
I want to start our story from the very beginning.
Okay.
But before I do that, you were named the captain of the Green Eagles. Tell me how you felt when you got that information that you were going to be the captain of the Green Eagles. It's the dream of every player.
Yeah. You know, those days is the coach that looks at his players and know who has the command and everything to make a captain. And before my captainship, Dominic Ezani was the captain. So when Dominic left to United States, that's when Dan Ayam brought me in as the captain.
Dan was the coach at that time.
Yeah. It was a difficult task, but I said, well, it's a responsibility, you know, so I took it over. So if Dom hasn't traveled, he will remain the captain.
So was it like, oh, here I am, I just realized every footballer's dream? Mm-hmm. Was it the way you felt?
Yeah, and you know, it was my first call to the national team.
The very first call?
74.
And you became captain?
Yeah, because Ezani left to the United States, who was the captain then. You know, and then Ayam looked at everybody and gave me the captain. He knows the reason why he did that.
You don't want to hazard a guess why he did that?
Well, maybe the guess was that I was so, you know, I was so close to all the players. You know, they know me very well, I know them, and they have respect for me, and I have respect for them. And they feel I can represent them very well too.
You also captained the Green Eagles to win the Nations Cup.
Of course.
How did you feel?
Well,
that this happened under your captainship?
Yeah, I feel very, 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 very happy. You know that winning the Nations Cup was not easy. We started in that 1994, 74. You know, I was the captain 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80. See how many years we were together. So we become a
gunning for that laurel.
Our first Nations Cup was in Ethiopia. When we went there and came back with a bronze medal. Our second Nations Cup was in Ghana. We went there too. We came back with bronze medal. And the third one was in Nigeria, where we are hosting. We said no. We can even play without a coach because we are together by then. We are like a family, brothers and so on. And God willing, being on our side, we fulfilled our promise to Nigerians and we won the cup. And on that day, may he so rest in peace, let President Shagari honor us very, very well.
Anyway, we are going to come back to all this because, because you know, I'd like to pick what you already said. It was not easy.
all.
So we're going to come to the journey, what happened in 74, what happened in 78, I guess, and all that. But let's take this story back to where I started. You're from Enugu State.
Of course.
And you were born just a few days in January in
51.
In 1951.
Yeah.
I mean, what a beautiful year for your parents that would have been. I mean, you just started the year and you had the son. You know, so let's start from there. What was it like? Were you born, I mean, were your parents in Enugu State at that time? It wasn't Enugu State then, it was the Eastern region and all that. Were they in the East when you were born? Were you born in the eastern part of Nigeria?
Of course. I'm from Kano local government, Enugu State, yeah?
Yeah.
So I was born in Kokam.
Our own co-camp.
Our own co-camp. So from our own co-camp, my parents came to Owani. My father had a plot there. We moved over to Owani. Before from Owani, we moved over to Kenyatta. Owani Extension. You know,
But
people may
as it
not
was
know
then,
these names.
yes.
And by then, I started my primary school in Christchurch.
You know
Owani. Yeah. So in actual fact, that's where my football started.
In Christchurch.
Yes, one. But my parents were not in support of that. Those days now, you play football, I say you're a vagabond. You're a comedian. People came to your father's place and made them happy. Say, look at what honey is, and so on. You know, it's not that people are seeing it as a good thing. So in Christchurch, I played in Christchurch School. I played in junior. That time for you to play in junior, your hand must reach your ear, and so on. From there, I played in the senior team of the Christchurch.
The primary school.
Yeah. From the Christchurch, then I went to National Grammar School, Nika. You know, I went there, I played there, captained them, and from there, I played to all these local clubs, Olympic Football Club, if you know Enugu well by then and so on.
Olympic, that had to do with the man that owned the Olympic Hotel then?
Of course, Chukwu, you know. So from there, I played for Highlanders of Enugu. Highlanders is owned by Ministry of Lands.
Then,
and Survey. I was still in school. And from Highlanders, I was selected in the East Central State Academicals.
we'll pause it there because I think we are going too fast. Let's go back, you know, to Christchurch, where you started your career. Was there something the school did in a special way to groom those of you that were young then to actually be interested in football?
There was no particular thing. We have the game masters. Those days we have game masters that were interested in sports. And when we came to play, they look at you and they make their selections. You know, and from there you started playing. Even after that, when I come back from school, my mother will give me some plantain or these things to sell. Those days we help our mother and father. And I will carry my own and put one side and start playing football.
I thought as much. I thought as much. Because
at times after playing football, I come, I will not see my distance again.
You will not see your plantain?
The plantain again. What will I tell my mother and my parents? So when I come back, I have to stay at the corner of the house till it gets dark for me to enter inside the house. What will I tell them? But when I come in, I told them what happened, and my father will flog hell out of me. You know?
You know, because that was what a lot of children did even then.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm imagining that even then, there were no boots.
No.
There was no socks.
No.
You guys just, probably there was no ball. It could be an orange. Was that the kind of environment that you were exposed to at that time?
Yeah, it's the kind of environment we were exposed to. But because of interest I have in football and everything, my parents cannot stop me.
No matter how much they flogged you?
Because I was stubborn and I love football, So that is how it started.
Would it be right to say that even then, you knew what you wanted in life? You knew that this was your star, this was your talent. Did you know then, or you were just being a child?
I knew then, but I didn't know it would be money spinning like this nowadays. It's just for pleasure. We use it for pleasure. We are not playing for money. We are not playing for anything. After the game, maybe the head of the place or everything will buy glucose. You put in there, you lick orange and so on. That's what you get, and you are happy. You are part of the team.
You were playing for Highlanders in Enugu.
Yeah.
A team that was owned by the Ministry of Lands, yeah. Which even brings something out, that even then, so many individuals and organizations were interested in growing football. Yeah. Because you talked about the Olympics, which was owned by Chukwu, who owned the Olympic Hotel in Enugu then. Yeah. And one is wondering why you don't see such interest anymore in the football, especially in the Southeast. Not many individuals want to invest in football in the Southeast.
Well, it's because of interest. Most of them don't have the interest. Those that are
even now that it's money spinning,
are having the interest and now money spinning, are trying their best. They are trying their best, but it's very expensive
to run
a football club.
A football club.
It's very, very expensive to run a football club. So you have to buy a bus, you have to buy this, you have to buy balls, you have to buy boots, you have to kit the teams, you have to camp them, and so on and so forth. So many of them don't have that kind of money. And those that have that kind of money don't have that kind of chance and interest. But gradually it's coming up.
Okay, let's go back to Highlanders. So you were playing for Highlanders. So at what point did you leave Highlanders? How did you end up at Rangers, which was the number one at that time?
Yeah, well, I left Highlanders after my school days.
Secondary school?
Secondary school. And from there, I was invited on East Central State Academic House. And we went to Lagos, East Central Academy. They said, we are just from war. We don't know how to play.
You were just from war?
From the war, Biafra war. We were just coming out of the war. And the Igbos were not regarded in football-wise and so on because we were fighting war. And from there, we won the Academic House.
Oh, the team that came from East Central State?
Yeah, we beat the Kwara Academic House 2-0 in the finals and so on. So on that day, the Igbo people in Lagos went wild. That is what started giving Igbo people the courage, the power to come up. As we were leaving the stadium, you can see the Igbo people singing Eimba, and any car that blocks our bus, they do a shobe and push the car out of the way and so on.
That must have been very, very exciting.
So during that time too, the Rangers won the Amakri Cup, which is National League now.
Oh, that same year?
That same year.
That your school team won the Academicals?
Yeah. They won the Amakri Cup the same year. So the two teams, we have to come back. They organize a friendly match.
Between the Academicals and Rangers?
Rangers as the champions. And there, after the match, only three of us, myself, Ezani, and Obueze, were drafted into Rangers. The rest of us went to Vasco da Gama. That will tell you why Vasco was a very formidable side by then. So that's how it started.
So you started playing for Rangers.
Yeah.
And at that time, Rangers, like you said, was a very formidable team in Nigeria. As a little boy, I don't know whether it was, I don't know whether 73 or 75. There was a match that Rangers played that even as a young little boy, I can't ever forget because it was celebrated all over. Rangers Mahala of Egypt match. Were you in Rangers at that time?
I was the captain.
Of Rangers?
Yes.
Tell me
Yeah.
about it because as a
And
little boy, it was the number one story.
When we are drafted into Rangers, not quite long ago, Achebe retired and became our coach. Luke Obara retired. Ezani played briefly and went on. You know those people that came from Lagos that formed Rangers? You know, Will Amosu, NSU Fele, name them, that formed the Rangers. Okoseme,
Yes.
you know, and so on and so forth, you know, that formed the Rangers. So we started replacing them gradually.
As they were retiring.
As they were retiring. We started replacing them gradually, you know. And by then, for you to enter Rangers, you must come from school, academicals, and so on. And not now that anybody can come and they say they are going to bring him and so. Rangers have their procedure.
And tradition.
Tradition of promoting team. So that's how we came in, all of us.
So you were captain
Yeah.
when you played Mahela.
Yeah.
Which year was that?
We played Mahara in 70, is it 76 or so, you know. We went to Mahara and we lost.
I think it was 3-0.
Yeah, and we came here, we said, Mahara, we see Wahala, you know, because by then we are not used to cold weather, you know, Egypt and all this.
Oh, so it was cold when you played there.
So when they came to our own, we brought them in the sun by 2 o'clock.
In the afternoon?
Yeah, that's when the match started. And luckily for us, that was a fantastic team. But we were lucky and determined, you know, and we were able to eliminate them from the tournament.
I remember it was, but then Rangers of those days, you had two arch, I don't want to call them enemies, but opponents. One was in your back door, Vasco da Gama, and the other was somewhere in the southwest, IICC of Ibadan. Tell me about those encounters. Why was it so difficult for Rangers to win almost everybody in Nigeria, and it was always a tough match playing Vasco da Gama?
You know, those days, we are not opportune to change clubs, travel, because we were employees of the Sports Council.
Okay, for you to play for Rangers, you had to be an employee of the Sports
They
Council.
will give you a job, not that you have to play. If you decide not to take the job, it's left for you. But most of the teams by then don't move about. It's not only IICC, but then insurance have a very good team then. Kano Pillars, you name them, stationary stores.
Yes.
All those clubs, we have formidable clubs then because the players don't move about. Like nowadays, you know, I'm playing for Rangers and another club can come and offer me better condition. Then I leave. You know, those days there were no such things. And that's why we have formidable teams. Secondly, the two clubs, Rangers and IICC, have a strong chairman. Lekon Salami is a fantastic chairman, football fanatics, and he's the chairman of IICC. Jim Mobodo is the chairman of Rangers, and he's a fantastic person too, you know. So these two big wigs are always competing, not only the players and so on. And Vasco da Gama have a good administrator, Ogufere. Ogufere started Vasco da Gama, and they have a good team. That's why he took about 18 of us, to their team, and so on. So teams were very strong by then. But immediately we finish match, we beat Vasco da Gama, we know we are going far.
Did they ever beat Rangers? Did Vasco ever beat Rangers?
Well, I couldn't remember to my knowledge.
But it was always a tough
game, because they have Patrick Ekeji, Waha, Osaka. All those are colleagues.
That knew even how you guys played?
Yeah, in the academic house. Umero was the goalkeeper. We was our goalkeeper in the academic house. A lot of them, were playing for Vasco da Gama. And Vasco was a very formidable side by then.
How did your team, even then, because there was something you said about when the Academicals won in Lagos and the new pride it gave to the Igbos who were just coming back from war. When you played for Rangers then, because Rangers became like a rallying point for the Igbo people, did you see yourself as an ambassador? You and your colleagues, when you played for Rangers, did you see yourself as ambassadors of the Igbo people that, look, we have to win?
Well, that is our motivation. We don't want to disappoint Igbo people, because if you go to IICC, it's all Yoruba. You go to Bendel Insurance, it's all Benin. You go to Sesame Stores, it's all Lagosians and so on. So everybody has people they are representing. So we don't want to disappoint our people, the Igbo people, And that is what is part of our motivation. Then there was no money, there was nothing, It's for you to make sure that you represent your people very well. And they reciprocate. Because after that, when you come out in the streets, you are being held. You go to market, they dash you meat, they dash you everything. Christian Chukwu. Benyan, no problem. But, and so that is our benefits those days.
Not the money.
And we are proud of it. There was no money, nothing. And when we win any tournament, the Sports Council gives us promotion.
Oh.
That's another promotion, another motivation. We get promotion. We go to the level of level 8. They give you a car, then, and so on. So that's kind of motivations we have, And Jerry Yazo was our director of sports by then.
So how would you compare those that led sports then and those that lead sports now? Is there anything missing?
Commitment. Those that were then when we are playing are very, very much committed to the game. I don't know about those now, because there's money in it, everything. Everybody wants to be this. Even a lawyer will leave his profession. He wants to be chairman of NFF. A doctor leaves his profession. Those days you don't have such things. That's the difference.
Commitment. Let's look at your days in Rangers. When you look back, which match can you tell me was the most challenging for you in Rangers? I know there were so many.
So many of them, but the one that got us angry and annoyed was the final we have to play with Hafi of Guinea.
That's for the club championship, African Club Championship.
We went to Guinea and played, And when we come to Nigeria, instead of them allowing us to play it in Enugu, we were forced to play it in Lagos. And we were in Enugu preparing.
Who forced you to play in Lagos?
The National Sports Commission. So we struggle to enter flight that day in the morning to be in Lagos, to settle down and play the match. And we lost that match to Hafi of Guinea, which would have been the first African Nations of Cup we would have won.
In Nigeria?
In Nigeria.
Do you think there was sabotage?
Well, I believe it's sabotage because those days it was home and away. When you go away and come back, you play at your home, and our home is Enugu. No matter we are Nigerians, it's all the same thing. But they forced us to play in Lagos. It's just the same thing like when we played IICC, Tracy now. We played them in Lagos, they choose Lagos as their home. We played them there. On the second leg, we're supposed to play in Enugu. And they said no. They brought in politics that ICC did not play at their home. Our home is in Ibadan. But they choose Lagos. It's not we that choose Lagos. So it became a big controversy. And the Yeredua, the then head of state, have to decide that we move to Kaduna. That's how we moved the match to Kaduna. And luckily for us, when we got to Kaduna, the match ended in a penalty, which we won.
So even then, there was a lot of politics in football?
Of course. Of course.
So how about matches that were tough because of the opponents you were playing that was not politics? Do you remember any?
I believe all the matches were tough, especially African competitions. You know, I could remember we went to play Police of Senegal, in Senegal, and they gave us beating of our life. And Obasanjo had to send a flight to us to come back that day, that night.
You won that match?
Yeah.
And the people got the Sierra Leoneans?
Because it's second leg. They came here and got a draw, and they believe they have won. So when we went there, we said, we beat them. Well, and they beat hell out of us. And Obasanjo had to send us a flight to come back that night.
I'm not laughing really, but you mean like they descended on the players?
Straight ahead, everybody. You know? So
Obasanjo sent a flight that night?
We came back that night. We went straight to our hotel, packed our luggages and so on. The flight was waiting for us at the airport. We have to fly back before we are killed. You don't know what they will do next minute.
This must be the dangers of playing football.
Yeah, a lot of
Was it something that worried those of you then? Because it's not like today that there's so much security in the...
We were surprised that the people that did this was Police of Senegal, who would have given you protections and everything. And when Police of Senegal did that kind of a thing, why are you sleeping? You don't know what will happen in the night. It pained them a lot. They never believed it.
But that's football.
But that's football.
That's football.
Yeah.
So, you were captain for Rangers for several years.
Yeah.
How did you end up in the Green Eagles? Super Eagles as we know it today.
Yeah, in the Super Eagles, I ended up after the Nations Cup in 1980 when we won the cup.
No, how did you get into Green Eagles? At what point were you invited into the team?
Yeah, I was invited in 1974. That was
the same year you joined Rangers?
No, Rangers was 72.
Okay.
I joined the national team, Green Eagles. And by then, Achebedem, all these old players have gone. Ezani became the captain. And not quite a long time in that 74, Ezani traveled to the United States. And I was made the captain. So I was in the Green Eagles stroke Super Eagles till 1980 from 74. And the name was changed after we won the cup in 1980 to Super Eagles. We were all along Green Eagles.
Tell me about the struggle. I mean, 80, like you told me earlier, was not the first time. You had made an attempt in
76, attempt in Ethiopia.
What went wrong there?
We came back with bronze medal.
What happened? Why couldn't you leave the cup?
It was a game other countries we are preparing. you don't underrate other countries. We have good teams, good countries that we are preparing. You know.
So you lost in Ethiopia?
We lost in Ethiopia, but we came back with bronze. We won the third position.
Okay.
You know.
Then you went back in
76.
You went back to in
78. We went to Ghana. And the same thing happened to us. We lost in the semi-final, then played in the third position and won the bronze. Then in 1980, we won the cup.
Tell me about the journey. Tell me about how it was possible. You were captain, so you knew.
It was not easy. All of them were not easy. They were very hard journeys. But luckily for us, we were building ourselves. We were knowing ourselves, understanding ourselves very, very well. You know, at a stage, we became brothers and everything. At a stage, I can close eye and pass the ball to Shego Debame without knowing where he is, and he will get the ball. You know, so we became one unit. Even without coach, we can even play a match. We have a solid team. And that led us to winning the cup in 1980.
You know, one thing I'm learning from the story you're telling is that in those days, it didn't matter how many Igbos were in Green Eagles or how many Yorubas were in Green Eagles. Because just telling me, from what you're telling me, an Igbo man was captain, and he became captain, and then you became captain. And it was not such an issue.
No. Then there was nothing like Yoruba, Igbo, Hausa, anything. No. We are just one. The coaches were selecting people they feel that can give them results. And nobody queries them. You know. And you know, once you are winning, Nigeria don't know where you come from.
You're correct.
Everybody is giving you the support, the Hausa, the Yoruba, everybody. So far, you are doing well. Nobody wants to know where you come from. It's Nigeria. You know. So there was no such thing by then. And of course, the most big teams by then was Rangers and IICs.
And it was healthy competition. I remember the match in Enugu that was played at the temporary stadium.
Yeah.
It was always a fight.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, by then the fence of the temporary stadium was zinc.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody was struggling, and
a lot of people got wounded
and everything.
But that was how important those matches were.
Yeah.
Chairman, why are Nigerians not supporting local teams like they did when you were playing? What is the problem?
Well, I think the problem is that the English football came out. The television came out.
Cable came out.
And so on. When we are playing no such, the television then was black and white. How can you get Europe and get all these things, and everybody was, you know, coming. You can see last match Rangers played on Sunday. It's because the English League have ended.
The stadium was filled up.
The stadium was filled up. If not, if the English League was still on, you see people going in the bar to watch Arsenal or Chelsea or this or that, you know. So it's part of our problem.
But you've been in this business, Chairman, for a long time. You've been a player, you've been a coach, you've been this and that. What can we do to promote our local football? What should we do? Yes, we know there is the English Premiership, the European Premiership, and all that. What would you suggest we do so that we can have a robust, local football in Nigeria that will not only bring money for the sponsors, it will bring money for the footballers or whoever is interested? What do you think we should do?
Number one, we should get people who are interested to run the football. It's not everybody that can run the game of football. And number two, in Nigeria, let me not say Africa, there's no money in football. So you see all our players moving out. Some are going even in the Benin Republic to get a higher pay. Some are going to Europe and everybody, all our players are moving out. So there's no motivation, no incentive. The money was not there. You play a match finish, there's no match bonus, no allowance, and so on. So this discourages the teams. In those days, when we are playing, before you come to the stadium, you know the 11 that will start the match.
You know the 11?
Rangers.
Yes.
But nowadays, you cannot see people will come to the stadium and say, oh, which side is Rangers? And which side is this? And which side is that?
They are not interested.
They are not interested because they know the player today. Tomorrow they say the player is out. And so on. So a lot of motivation have to come inside it. No sponsors, and so on and so forth. A lot to be done.
Okay, Chairman.
Will come back.
Let's go back to 1980. You led the Green Eagles that became the Super Eagles to win that coveted trophy for Nigeria. So what happened after that?
As I said, after that, we have to give thanks to Shagari. May he so rest in peace. Shagari awarded us with buildings in First Stack.
In Lagos.
We got cars. We got money. We were taking around Lagos. And that was the first time I rode a horse in Lagos.
In celebration of your victory.
So, in short, Shagari rewarded us very well, more than well. And that is why the football is promoted to the level it is now. Otherwise in those days, they don't take us as nothing. And we are playing it for the interest. That's the difference. People playing now are playing for money. Our only was interest. There was no money, no nothing. It was after that 1980, we got this gift and everything, that people started
taking it seriously.
Taking it serious, and so on and so forth.
Tell me how you felt when all this was happening. You were celebrated everywhere, in Lagos, in Enugu, on the streets.
Well, we never believed it.
Were you walking in the air?
We never believed it. We're just playing that we want to satisfy our country, our people, and we make them happy and everything. And in response, they made us happy too.
Mm-hmm.
So it was that time we knew what we did. We don't even know what we did when we won the cup. It was when the showering was coming in.
From everywhere?
Everywhere. We said, so this is a big thing. And we thank God for it.
Let me ask you a question. Was your father alive in 1980?
Of course.
Tell me, what happened? Because he was the same man that wouldn't let you play football.
Yeah, my father and my mother considered when I entered the Rangers.
As they say today, they became loyal.
They wanted their son to be a doctor, mama doctor, pardon, a lawyer, something, But when I entered the Rangers, they started hearing their son's name. And when they were passing, I said, you know this woman? Mama Christian Chukwu. They say, hey! Oh, yeah, Mom Christian Chukwu. The same thing with father. That is why when they surrendered, and started giving me prayers and encouragement.
And respect.
And respect.
Because,
Because
you needed them
they
to
wanted me to be one of the doctors, lawyers. That was what is reigning by then. And my mother wanted to answer one of the names.
When you won the cup in 80, did your parents come to you and say, oh, thank God we didn't stop you?
They were so happy, so pleased. And even they reigned more than me.
Oh, they enjoyed the fame.
They enjoyed the fame. They reigned more than me. Because anywhere they are going, they are being recognized easily than somebody who has a doctor and a lawyer. Those days.
It looks like I'm missing something.
Yeah.
At what point in this, your journey, did you think oh, come, I need to settle down. I need a wife?
That was after the Nations Cup.
It was going to be a big challenge for you because every woman wanted you. So how did you navigate?
My mom intervened. It was even
She knew you were in trouble.
You see, it was even my mom that made me to marry.
Oh.
Because I was not ready.
You were enjoying...
those days, the parents will get a wife for you, whether you like it or not.
No, but in your case, I knew...
But I had so many girls.
I know.
I had so many girls, girlfriends and so on.
They wanted to be girlfriend to Christian Chukwu.
My mom said, I'll find a wife for you. This is the person you are going to marry. And we respect our parents those days. We obeyed them. I said, okay, to make you happy, no problem. You have to make your parents happy.
So there was or there is no doubt that even when you got married, especially after the Nations Cup, you were still a very busy man. Of course, your career even got you busier than ever. How did you juggle your career in football and your family life?
Yeah, I was very, very lucky. The person my mother chose for me that she brought, was very understanding. I married after 1980, and we wedded in 1981, and we had our first child in 1983. So she too understands my movement, my profession, So she was coping, to my movements, because after the 1980, 81, I coached Rangers briefly, before going to coach the first under-17 that won the cup for Nigeria with Sebastian Broderick. So from there, I was drafted to the national team. But from national team, I went to Kenya, become the Kenyan national team. I'm
Coach.
from Kenya, yeah. I'm from Kenya. When I came back, I went to Lebanon.
As a coach too?
As a coach too. It was in Lebanon that I was told to come back and handle the national team again. But before I could come back, they said they have given Shaibu the job. I said, okay, no problem. It's all the same, but you wouldn't have told me to come back when I was comfortable in Lebanon.
No, so the National Sports Commission or the NFA reached out to you in Lebanon where you were coaching a team.
Yeah.
And asked you to come back to Nigeria and coach the national team,
Yeah.
only for you to get here.
Yeah.
And they told you they'd given the job to Shuaibu.
Yeah.
So
So
what happened? Why?
So from there we said, okay, no problem. It's a colleague, it's everything. So there was this one man called Noel, who is a Nike man. He brought Nike to Nigeria.
The sportswear company.
Yeah, Noel. Then he found me a job in Kenya. So I went back to Kenya as a Kenyan national team.
Okay. So you went to Kenya twice?
No, once. I went to Lebanon first.
Okay.
It was Lebanon that I went first. When this thing happened, I came back. He said, no. He found me a job in Kenya.
As their national team coach?
That's how I went to Kenya.
Tell me about Kenya and your career in Kenya.
Yeah, when I went to Kenya, I found out that Kenya was so backwards.
In football?
Yeah, I went to Kenya. I have to build junior teams for them because I have coached under 17 in Nigeria. I built under 20 for them and so on. So they were enjoying it, and the senior team. So when I went there, those East African Nations Cup and they are playing and so on, Kenya was dominating, doing very well, which they have not done before, So they enjoyed my stay in Kenya and they never want me to go.
So at what point did they now ask you to come back to the Super Eagles to coach?
I told you when they called me from Lebanon. Mm-hmm. Kenya, my contract expired. And I said, no, I'm going home. So when I came back home, then they called me to Super Eagles with Clemens Westerhoff. Okay. So I worked with Clemens Westerhoff, and from there we went to World Cup, we won Nations Cup, and from there we dispersed again.
What a journey.
Yeah, so that's how it was.
You played football, wonderful career, a lot of successes here and there. Do you have a regret that you didn't play football when it became gold? Do you sometimes sit back and say, oh, if it were now, maybe I'll be a billionaire? Does it occur to you sometimes? Do you think about that sometimes?
Yeah, it occurs to me. If it were now, I will invite Vin Euro to London to come and do me this interview. But I was not regretting anyway.
Yeah.
I was not regretting because I got everything I deserved because I was not playing it for money then. Yes. It's for fame, posterity, and so on. When I look back now, I'm happy that I built the football.
In Nigeria?
In Nigeria. I built it to where it is now, for people to start recognizing that football is a big business, and so on. So that's my pride. Whenever you want to talk about the progress of football in Nigeria, well, we will not forget Chairman Christian Chukwu.
Do you think that our country, Nigeria, has paid enough attention to footballers like you who made Nigeria proud in your retirement? Do you think Nigeria has taken good care of you and your colleagues?
Well, that's a problem in Nigeria. Other countries are trying to build their footballers. You see in Cameroon, Eto'o is the chairman. You see Ivory Coast, Drogba. You see, they are starting to recognize footballers, But in Nigeria, we don't recognize footballers. People running our football, there's none of them played football. None of them knows what they are talking.
They're businessmen.
They're businessmen. They come. Otherwise, people like Kanu Nwankwo them, Okocha them, and all these people should not be lying low while football matters are being taken. You leave the job for the footballers to run. And you see the change. It's affecting everything we are doing. Even today, they gave Finidi a job. Finidi has to continue where his Oga stopped. And he's not doing well now. But it's not his fault. If I'm in his position, I will reorganize the team completely.
Instead of just going with what you found?
With what you find. Because those days, Finidi himself was a local player when we picked him up. When I was with Westerhoff. A lot of them were local players when they played for national team. You don't neglect local players. They are the ones that build the team. They will be more committed. All these people playing now are not committed to me. You know what is World Cup for you to go to World Cup? World Cup alone should be enough motivation for you. But they're in Europe, they are making money, they don't care. Maybe after losing that match in Benin, they all enter plane to their respective countries and so on. But if it is local base and so on, you lose that kind of match. What is in your mind? What will I tell my people when I come back? Because everybody is coming back here to Nigeria. So they should try and build and give local players opportunity. I'm not saying that the foreign players are not good. They are good, but you give the local. These are the people that wants to go to Europe too.
So they will be more committed.
Committed and everything. So it depends on the organization.
A lot of you worked. For instance, you told me that as a Rangers player, you were a staff of the Sports Council. Do you get your pensions regularly, even now?
Well, this is the state government problem. I'm a pensioner, but anytime they pay, I get my own.
When they pay?
When they pay.
Don't you think that for men like you, who have done so much, in their prime for this country, that maybe there should be a special package different from just you getting your pension? Is it something you think about sometimes?
Well, I think if Martin is governor tomorrow, I will get all my entitlements and more, because when I come and say, Your Excellency, say, Chairman Chukwu, what are you doing now? I say, I'm sick. I don't have anything. Like when I was sick, the person that took care of me, so Tedora, you cannot imagine that. A Yoruba guy. Who was a small boy. His father was the governor of Lagos State by then, and he was enjoying my game and everything. So when I became sick, he was the one that took me to London and made me to survive today.
But we also heard that the state government had helped.
They have helped. Help comes in different ways.
But if it wasn't for Tedola?
There was no time the state government wants to take me abroad. Help is that if you enter hospital here in Nigeria, maybe they shall offset your bill. But this singular man said no. Hey, prepare him, let him come over. And that's how.
Had you known him before then?
Is the father I know, who was the governor of Lagos State when we were playing. You see? And without him today, I don't know. It's only God knows.
Whether he'll be alive today.
Whether he'll be alive.
Do you feel disappointed? Or even when you were very ill and you were facing all those challenges, Did you feel and do you feel disappointed that the Igbo governments that formed the part of the Igbo nation, that none of them came to your aid?
Well, it's still happening to you tomorrow.
They still don't care.
You see, our colleagues are dying left and right. They don't have money to buy drugs. You saw Stanley Owen. You saw Harrison Mecha. You saw all these people. It's because they don't have money to take care of themselves that they're dying. So it's not that it's just only me or whoever. It's general.
So are you saying that even now that you're managing your health, that the state government is not reaching out to you?
No. The only state government that is reaching out to us is Anambra. Anambra from Peter Obi was giving us 2 pence to take care of ourselves. Peter Obi started with 10,000 naira. Then this person came in, Obiano came in, and increased it to 15.
15,000 naira. A month.
A month. And now Soludo came in. I said, no, 50,000 will not do anything for you. And increase it to 100,000 every month. You can imagine.
And your state in Enugu does not pay you anything?
Nothing. No, nothing. Other states in other federations are doing nothing. Sorry, Anambra. And now I can afford to buy some drugs to take care of myself.
Does it make you sad?
No, it does not make me sad. You know, if you become sad, you become more sick. You just manage yourself the way you see yourself. Or if you want to die early, you start thinking about all those things. You know? It does not make me sad. It's not that the governors, maybe they forgot, maybe when you book appointment to them, they remember you, they give you 100,000 or 200,000 that you visited and so on, and they felt that they have done something for you.
Chairman, but let me ask you, some people also say that those of you that were very successful in your career, that so much money came into your hand, maybe when you won the tournament, when you were coach here and there. What could have happened?
Which money?
The houses, the cars.
That was national. That was national. So any money that comes into our hand, even though there's some of us, I will not say all of us, some of us are lucky to have invested their own, you know. Some were not lucky, and that's why we are seeing all these things we are seeing, you know. So if we have played, you cannot see any player that is playing in Europe that will come and start asking you money. They dash you money.
Because the times are different.
The times are different.
And as you said, a lot of you played for playing sake, not that,
not that
you made so much money from it.
No. But we are not regretting. Somebody must build a foundation for a business to grow.
Do you think Nigeria, as Nigeria, has also honored you enough, or honored you in such a way that?
Well, the only person that honored me is Shagari. He even gave me a national honor, MFR. And after Shagari, nothing again. Another person that tried to do something was Buhari. When he came in, when under 17. We went there and won, and he promised us houses and so on, and he was overthrown. And this second time he came back, I didn't know he would still remember. And he fulfilled his promise.
And gave you the houses?
Yeah.
Let's look at football administration generally. If you were asked to come and deliver a lecture to all these administrators today, people that are taking care of our football, what will you tell them?
Well, number one, I don't think they will understand what I'm talking, because it's not what they came for.
What did they come for?
What they came for? I'm not telling them what they want to hear. You get what I'm saying? What they want to hear is how to make the money. But I will tell them how to invest the money, which they are not prepared. You know, by now we should have infrastructures. The NFL should have a playing ground, a school, training school, you know, for coaches, and so on. You know, now we don't even have a one coaching school in Nigeria. There are other developments you will provide for the young players that are coming up, you know, and they're not ready for that. And that's the problem we're having. Because if we have those programs on the ground, we should be able to replace our players that are aging and those that are going out of the country.
You know, you talked about academicals, and I remember even as a young person in the Southeast, that we had school competitions where you had the Ebony case,
which are no more now,
and we had the school competitions where the academicals came from. So you found them as a ready ground to get new players. Yeah. You think those things should come back?
Of course. The schools are doing nothing now, and the students are forming cults, and this and that. Nothing keeps them busy, and so on. Why should the school sports die? It's where you bring up young players, talents. Those days, you don't have any students misbehaving or going to carry gun and say, cult this, cult that. No. We are all occupied in one sport or the other, you know, and we go to competitions and so on and so forth. You know, it's no more. They have all killed that now. So that's why we're having all these problems.
Let me ask you something personal. In some states, people that were not as great as you were in football have stadia or stadiums named after them, or sports facilities named after them. Do you feel bad that none has been named after you?
Well, maybe they're waiting till I die.
Before they do that?
Before they remember to do that. But for now, no such thing. Even when we came back from under-17, we won the cup. They gave instruction that they should name our names on streets. None has been implemented today.
Even in Enugu?
Even in Enugu. In Imo, they have Chukwu, a player street. Maybe other people, few states implemented theirs. So people, I don't know if it is their tradition or what, don't recognize you until they see you no more. When they don't see you anymore, they say, oh.
Then maybe they have to wait for so long because you're not living yet.
That's the problem.
You're not living yet. So if anybody has any plan, they had better come up with it.
That's the problem we're having.
Chairman,
but that one doesn't bother me anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess the accolades you receive from people you see on the street and all
That's
that.
the most important ones to me.
Chairman, wonderful journey, wonderful career, wonderful life, and of course, the greatest one getting ill and getting well by somebody's magnanimity. What are your regrets in life?
Well, do I remember anyone now? I don't think I have any. I thank God I was alive. I was successful in what I choose, the profession I choose, and everything. So I'm not the kind of person who is expecting the nation to give me millions of naira or the state to give me this and that. I feel comfortable myself. Maybe that's what is keeping me alive till today, you know. So everything I have, I achieved myself, you know. So I think I'm satisfied with myself. I don't have much regrets. I have a wife. I have 4 children, 2 boys, 2 girls. They just married, so I'm a grandfather now. So what else? What else am I looking for? So I thank God for life.
Of course, you already told me you have so much to be grateful for. But in your very, very eventful life, what time can you look back and say, this was the height for me?
Well, as a player, when we won the academic house, 2, when we won cup winners, Rangers, 3, when we won the Nations Cup. I think that was the highest for the first time. So anytime you want to talk about Nations Cup in Nigeria, you must look for people who won it first. And you find our names there. So that one is there forever.
My last question. Successful footballer, great coach. Do you regret not playing in the World Cup?
Well, it's part of my regret.
You didn't remember that?
Yeah, it's part of my regret, but because we nearly went to the World Cup until we lost to Tunisia here. When Odie headed the ball mistakenly inside our net, we lost 1-0, you know. Because apart from that, we were been to the World Cup. It's part of my regret. Thank you for reminding me.
Chairman Chukwu, I must thank you so much for your time. I know the back and forth for us to have this interview take place. I'm really grateful, sir.
You're always welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And as you age gracefully as you are aging, I say congratulations.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure. You know my place now. You're always free.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
And that's the signature show. I am Vin Martin Obiora Ilo. Thanks for watching.